This episode is sponsored by the Freedom Builder System. For just $57 a month, you can get my custom Biz Builder AI, plus membership in the Freedom Builder community. Think of it as having me, your personal business coach and corporate escape Sherpa, right in your pocket 24/7. Biz Builder AI is your business building tool with 5 Sherpas in one powerful tool. It's a coach in AI form that helps you choose the right idea, create offers, build your financial runway, and market yourself without the cringe. And the Freedom Builder membership gives you the training, community, and accountability to actually follow through. So you're never doing this alone. Think of it as clarity, tools, and support all in one for less than the cost of a dinner out and a fraction of what you'd spend on private coaching. Check the show notes for the link, and let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the GenX Remix, Midlife Laughs and Next Acts, the podcast for bold Gen X women who are done playing small and are ready to build a business or career that lights you up. I'm your host, Tabatha Jones, the Corporate Escape Sherpa and Career Advancement and Leadership Coach. Before we dive into this powerhouse conversation, I want to share something that can help you make your next act your best act yet. It's my Freedom Framework. It's a brand new audio training that breaks down exactly how to start building a business while you're still in your 9-to-5. No fluff, just strategy, structure, and smart steps to help you start moving forward. Grab it now at corporateescapesherpa.com/the-freedom-framework. All right, today's guest is Mikell Reed Carroll. And let me just say, if you've ever thought it's too late for me, this episode is your wake-up call. Mikell is the founder of Carroll Crown Consulting, a pageant coach, international title holder, attorney, mom, and living proof that reinvention is always possible, even after a diagnosis that led to a double hip surgery. She's turned her lifelong passion for pageantry into a thriving business, and she just might be the most inspirational combination of grit, glamour, and guts we've had on this show yet. Let's jump into her remix. All right, Mikell, welcome to the Gen X Remix. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Tabatha?
I'm good, thank you. Just trying to cool off after a game of pickleball earlier this afternoon, so I'm gonna probably look a little sweaty through this show. But I'm happy to be here.
All right. I understand. It's been hot here in DC today too. It was one of those very hot, humid days. Odd for April, but not so odd for DC sometimes. So I understand. I've been sweating a lot today as well.
We'll take it. I love the warm weather. So let's pop right on in and have you tell us about your remix story.
Sure. So I started pageantry when I was a lot younger. I started when I was about 20. To give you context, I'm 47 today, and still competing in beauty pageants. So I got started when I was in my 20s, didn't have much success in pageantry, but really loved them. Then in my mid 30s, around the age of 35, after I was married, I had taken maybe 7 or 8 years off of competing in pageants and had thought, I think I missed that. I would love to see if there are any pageants for older women and for women who are married. At the time, I didn't know if there were pageants for married women or women over 35. So sure enough, I did some research, of course, on the internet and found that it's in fact a huge industry. There were a ton of pageants out there, and we were living in DC at the time, and I signed up for a pageant for the Mrs. DC America pageant, again, not knowing really how things had changed in the pageantry world. Got involved again, competed, was second runner-up at Mrs. DC America, did a few more pageants, won my first world title as World's Mrs. Tourism in 2017 at the age of 39. Then won a national title in 2019 at the age of 41. And after giving up that title, I was crowned International Ms. USA. After giving that title up, I decided that after 25 plus years in pageantry and with my experience, that I wanted to turn that into a business. And so I started and opened Carroll Crown Consulting about 3.5 years ago and started my own pageant consulting business, though I am still competing here and there as well as a 47-year-old. And so that was sort of my pivot, I guess. I took a little break and then at a certain point thought, why not give it another try? I feel like you're never too old to try new things. And I did, and actually had so much more success in my late 30s and early 40s than I ever did in my 20s.
Wow, that is amazing. And I agree. So, first off, congratulations. That's a lot of amazing winning you've been doing in the pageant world. That is incredible. I also believe that women get more beautiful as we get smarter and we age. So, I love that you're showing us that it is never too late to follow that passion. And if that's what you love, go do it. Like so many women put their lives just on hold thinking I can't, it's too late for me, or I'm just past this point, and you just were like, nope, I'm going for it, I'm doing my thing. So that's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's sort of how I felt. I felt like, I don't want the best years of my life to be behind me. I don't want to think, "Oh, remember when my life was so great and I did all these great things." I want to think that the best is yet to come. So for me, pageantry helps me with that. It helps me to set new goals for myself, to learn new things, and to always be striving to become the best version of me. And that really brings it out of me, whether it's getting in better shape, whether it's continuing just to sort of keep myself up physically, to keep my mental acuity up, and practicing my interview skills, and practicing on camera skills, and learning other skills as I age, and literally becoming the best version of myself, as well as getting more involved in my community with community service and things like that as well.
So great. So tell me a little bit about what led you to starting your business.
Sure. So gosh, when was it? 2021. So COVID happened, all of those things. I had been crowned International Ms. USA in 2019. I was International Ms. USA for over 2 years. Because of COVID, they didn't have a pageant in between. And in 2021, as I went to New York City to crown my successor, I had been giving a lot of advice for free for years to many people, helping them in pageantry. And I realized that after 25 years in pageantry, I had learned so much. Um, and really thought I would love to help accelerate other women in their pageant journey so they don't have to wait 20 plus years to win that state, national, or international title. And I feel like with my experience and expertise, as well as my background as an attorney, I'm actually an attorney by education, and I currently work for the Department of State as an attorney by day, pageant coach, and competitor by night and weekend, and decided I wanted to take that expertise and really share it with people while also having an additional income for myself, and frankly doing something that I'm passionate about and sort of obsessed with and love. So honestly, when I meet with my clients, I have the best time with them. I enjoy working with them. I feel inspired after I get off a coaching call by my clients, and it just gives so much back to me. I feel like it feeds my soul and my passion. So I love it.
I love when we get to do something we're obsessed with. Not a lot of people get to say that. And it's so great to see a woman in our section of life. You're a little bit younger than I am, but in this season of life, just continuing to go for it and be like, you know what? I'm going to do the thing I'm obsessed with, and nothing is going to stop me. Tell me a little bit about what a pageant coach actually does. I have never been in the pageant world. My sisters danced in their younger years, but I think pageants are a bit different. So, what does a pageant coach do?
Sure. I think a lot of people, number one, the general public, I feel like has sort of misconceptions about pageantry, that it's just a bunch of pretty girls or sort of, bimbos sort of walking across the stage in swimsuits, and, they pick the hottest one and that's sort of how it works. It's not like that. at all for the most part. Pageants are very different, especially in today's day and age. They're looking for more authenticity. Sure, every sort of company that's choosing a brand ambassador, which basically is what a beauty queen or title holder is looking for someone attractive. But in today's day and age, they're not necessarily looking for the most beautiful woman in the pageant or the supermodel. Yes, they're looking for someone attractive, but mainly what they're looking for is someone that's relatable. They want someone who can relate and other women can relate to and feel that, oh, I could be her. Perhaps I would sign up for that competition. Maybe that's me. So they also want authenticity, and they want someone who has a purpose and a drive and a message to put out there. So now most pageants, though they often don't require it, will really love it if you have a community service platform or a community initiative or something that you're passionate about, that you're really working on and sort of driving home a specific message while you're that title holder, because it makes you more interesting. Now, again, nowadays with social media, people will just scroll through and they'll see all these, beautiful people, but who are they going to stop on and really listen to? That's going to be the person who has an actual message that resonates with them. And so as a pageant coach, I work on everything from marketing, branding, creating platforms, platform development, those types of things, as well as working on interview skills training. A pageant interview is similar to a job interview, but times 10. Sometimes depending on the pageant, you might have a panel style interview where for 4 minutes, you have 4 or 5 judges firing questions off to you. Some pageants allow political or controversial issue questions. So you have to be up on sort of all the latest current events, as well as also really knowing yourself. And I do a lot of mindset coaching as well, because you really have to be very strong in your personal belief in yourself, as well as your mindset and confidence in order to win. Because many people ask me, what's the key to winning? Well, confidence. You need to have confidence. You need to be very confident in yourself and make those judges really believe in you when you walk in that room. And so that's what I help women to do. And I help them really to become the best versions of themselves and locate sort of their superpower. And oftentimes my clients' superpowers are those things they actually came in feeling insecure about and thinking, well, I've got this, and I think that, is probably what's going to hold me back from winning. I'm like, actually, that's the thing that's going to help you stand out. That is going to help you be more memorable and stand out. And so I help them then to sort of take that and use my strategic legal mindset to sort of spin things that, again, people maybe think are not an asset and turn them into that asset and superpower and make them sort of showcase that as something that sets them apart.
Oh my gosh. So many great things just came out of you right then. I'm like, what? I should have had a pen closer. But it's interesting to me how much of the language you're using with your pageant coaching work and obsession, I'm going to keep using that word today, lines up with career and leadership coaching and starting a business coaching. It all starts with confidence. And to your point, sometimes the area that women especially feel the most unconfident in, it really is that hidden, you just aren't using it. You're hiding it because you're afraid of,
Mhm.
what if you're not perfect? And it's like, oh my gosh, what if you're not perfect? Who cares? But if you're great at it and that's the gift that you were meant to share with the world, share it for God's sake. So
Exactly. And let's face it, nobody's perfect. And that's what makes us authentic and relatable. And those are usually the things that people like about us and pick up on, things that are maybe a little bit different and weird. I'm like, don't be perfect in your
yeah.
interview. Show, your weird things. Tell them a fun fact that you have like some really weird pet, or, there's just something odd that you love as a hobby. Like those are the things that are going to help make you memorable, because they're going to be like, remember that girl with like the 18 cats? Like that was really funny that she loves cats and breeds them. Like that's really different. That will make them remember you. But when you're talking about, sort of putting yourself up against 50 amazing women, that could
Yeah.
be the thing that helps you to stand out and gets you into that top 10 because they remembered that. It's sort of like your brand. It's the thing that they remember you by. And it's really fun to help women find those things about them that are really beautiful and help to showcase that for them and help them believe more in themselves and then sort of shine that spotlight and that light out to the world and show everybody else how incredible they are.
Yeah. And such a great feeling as a coach too, when I can't really explain it to people that don't understand the gifts that come with coaching. They're like, "Why do you do what you do?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, seeing that light in somebody just get brighter and brighter, it feels so good knowing that I help them find it. Like I help them find the switch." And I can only imagine that you see that as you're turning your clients' gifts into superpowers and helping them build that confidence. When you are coaching people for pageants, is there an age range that you normally work with?
I think probably my average client is somewhere between 30 to 50. That's sort of the average age range. I work with women over 50. I helped a woman last year who was 63 and competed in the Miss Florida USA pageant as the oldest
Wow.
woman in the competition and did amazing. And I love clients of that age range. I think it's incredible. And coached another woman who was in her mid 60s and didn't try her first pageant until she was 60. And I also work with little girls. I work with some younger girls, 6, 7, 8 years old, who are just getting into pageantry, and a number of teens. But I would say I specialize more in probably the 30 to 50 age range, sort of the Ms. and Mrs. age categories.
How fun. Is there a difference that you're seeing in the needs of women that are a little bit older versus the younger, I'd say younger women and children?
I think younger women and children tend to focus more on the aspects of pageantry that are a little bit more artificial, I would say. Like they're more interested in like, okay, I want to work on my walk and my wardrobe and those types of things as opposed to getting into the more deep subjects like let's work on your platform. Let's find what you're passionate about. Let's really get your interview skills. Whereas I feel like women who are a little bit older are more interested in that aspect. They're more interested in self-development. And it really is incredible, like you said, being a career coach, I'm sure is very similar to this in that when you start working with someone, and some of my clients I've worked with since I opened my business. I have a client right now that I've worked with. This is the third pageant I've worked with her in. And so we've been working together for nearly 3 years. And I've gotten to see that growth that she's had in the 3 years. And it's been incredible. Sometimes it's like night and day. And I personally found that when I started in pageantry, that's one of the reasons I started. Believe it or not, I was very shy. I would literally break out in hives if I got called on in class in college and high school because I was so nervous to speak in front of people.
Mm.
And I knew I wanted to, my goal at the time was to be a trial attorney. And so I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how am I going to be a trial attorney if I'm breaking out in hives, like getting called on in class? I need to do something to get me out of my shell. So in addition to competing for scholarships, that was one of my motivations was I thought, I hope that by throwing myself in a swimsuit and heels and walking out in front of hundreds of people to be judged, that perhaps this will help me become more confident and less shy. And though the first time I did that, I was mortified and nearly ran off stage. A year later, when I decided to compete again, I started to like that. I started to crave the spotlight and enjoy it. And now, as you can see, I'm no longer, the shy girl who doesn't want to say anything. Now I'm like, hey, I would be, raising my hand and probably, any party, if there's a mic there, don't give it to me. My husband's like, oh God, she got the mic. Watch out, guys. You'll never see it again. Just give her spotlight, okay? It's hard to drag me out of that spotlight, but that's what pageantry did for me. It got me comfortable with myself and comfortable. And I think some of that comes with aging as well. But at the same time, I feel like it fast tracked me a bit in that
Yeah.
aspect. And it just got me more comfortable with myself and frankly, not really giving a crap about what other people thought about me. Just and strangely enough, being in pageants, you'd think that you'd be more worried about that. But I got to the point where I realized I know what I have. I know what I'm bringing to the table. And I don't really care what they think. If they don't see that, that's their problem. And so I just became really confident in who I was and myself, my decisions, and what I was bringing to the table, knowing that I would be an asset.
That is incredible. I'd say that we like to all think that we don't care what anyone thinks or what they feel or what they're thinking about. It takes a certain bit of confidence to get to that point where you're just like, I don't care. I had someone once say to me, what other people think about you is really none of your business. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, you're right. Because most of what I think they think about me is just me making up some story in my mind anyway, based on God knows what. Like maybe I saw an expression and all of a sudden took it to, wherever it didn't need to go. And once I heard that, I was like, "Oh." And then when I turned 50, I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. It's fine. I wasted too much time worrying about other people."
Exactly. It's freeing when you begin to feel that because then you begin to go more with your own gut instinct on things and care less about other people's input in your life and how you're living your life. And then you can be more authentically you and what you want to be.
Yeah. One of the things when I was prepping for our interview that I learned about you is that you have had a couple of hip surgeries. What motivated you to continue competing after those hip surgeries? Because that had to have been a hard shift.
Yeah, that was definitely another sort of what I would call like a little shift, like you talked about earlier. Um, So I was actually at the time when I got my diagnosis, I was diagnosed with a rare disease in 2023. At the time, I was living overseas and I had been crowned Ms. USA Universe the year before and was preparing to compete for Mrs. Universe. And during that time period, I got my diagnosis. I was told you have this rare disease called avascular necrosis. And what it means is that both your hip bones are dying and they're soon going to collapse probably within the next month or two and you won't be able to walk and you have a couple of options. You can have hip replacements at age 45, double hip replacements, or you can get something done called a core decompression. So long story short, I found an incredible doctor at Yale who did a really innovative version of a core decompression, but it allowed you to walk on day one of your surgery, which is not typical. Normally, you have to have 6 to 12 weeks per surgery of zero weight bearing. And of course, two young kids, 4 and 8 at the time, I was like, I can't be like basically in bed for 6 months out of the year. I've got a life to live, I've got kids to take care of. So I got this surgery in September 2023, my first surgery, January of 2024, my second surgery. And frankly, one of the things that motivated me was during that period, I learned that the Miss Universe organization had lifted age restrictions, going from the top age of 28 to now having zero age restrictions. And as I was recovering from my first surgery, literally still using a walker, I said to myself, if I can walk, when this pageant happens, I'm going to compete in the Miss Virginia USA pageant and I'm going to be the oldest woman to ever compete. And sure enough, by the time the pageant happened, I was able to walk. And I was working out 4 weeks after my second hip surgery. I was modeling in New York Fashion Week. 8 weeks after that, modeling in Cayman Island Fashion Week. I was working out 7 days a week. And it was one of those things that motivated me because, of course, when I first got my diagnosis, it was awful. I was thinking to myself, I'll never be able to do a pageant or a model again. This is probably the end for me. And I wanted to make that choice myself. I didn't want to have it made for me. I think most of us are like that. We don't just want to be told, you can never do this again.
Right.
Um, Especially about something we're passionate about. And I said, you know what? I, I'm going to see if I can still do this, if it's still an option for me. And I didn't win because I was the oldest woman to ever compete. I was 46 competing against 20-year-olds, but it really helped again to bring that confidence back. It was that goalpost that I needed to motivate myself to be doing physical therapy twice a week, to be working out 7 days a week and making myself stronger again and really gaining back that belief that even after something as terrible as a rare disease diagnosis that was possibly going to take my mobility, that I could still do the things that I loved. And though things may look a little bit different didn't have to be bad. And that I was still going to go forward with the things that I loved and show people, and most importantly, show my children that you never give up on your dreams. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you've got a dream to chase, you go for it, because you will regret later in life never having gone for it. You'll never look back and say, I wish I hadn't tried that. But you will look back and say, I wish I had tried that. I wish I had done that in my life. So I did it, felt great. And then recently a couple of weeks ago, I was able to return and compete as Ms. USA Universe for the Ms. Universe title. And I ended up winning. And so that has been my incredible sort of comeback story. And it's been amazing. And I realized that, I can still do the things I love to do. This was not the end of my mobility, though it certainly changed it. And it wasn't the end of, my journey and my dreams.
Wow, that is so inspiring. It's sad to me to see people who give up so quickly when things aren't going right. And this is a pretty significant diagnosis that could have taken you down a completely different path, but you chose to stay true to yourself, which I'm picking up you are quite the fighter. Nobody's going to tell you no, or you're going to show them by doing it twice and sending selfies, which is, I get it. But I love that you just were like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And you went out and you competed, and being able to say, I was the oldest person to ever compete with so much pride, it actually gave me little goosebumps because it's
Aw,
so incredibly inspiring. So thank you for sharing that part of your story.
yeah,
Now,
thank you.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you. And it was one of the most amazing things about it too, was that I had so I competed in the Miss USA system when I was in my 20s and aged out at age 26. That was the time you aged out. I competed for 4 years, never won my state title. And so the last time I had competed was when I was 26. Then there I was on stage again at 46, frankly, looking better than I did when I was 26. That was definitely a point of pride for me. I was like, I look better now at 46 than I did when I was 26. That's pretty awesome.
That's very awesome. Add on the fact of how much life learning and how much experience and how well I'm sure you were able to interview because you've had so much more just general life in between. So that is so great.
Exactly.
My question for you, because I'm nosy, is there a book in the works? Because your story is really interesting and it's something I would love to read more about if that was about to happen.
Is there? Yes. And it's so funny. Everybody asks me that. Do you have a book you're going to write? I've definitely been contemplating writing a book. I have several ideas in mind. Everything from, a book about pageantry and winning and sort of overcoming things and the types of things that pageantry can do for you, to just sort of reminding people that, you never know where life is going to take you. I was born the oldest of 5 kids to a single mom, small town in Maine. We were poor by US standards. Became the first person in my family to go to college, graduated with honors, went to law school, had never traveled in my life. Again, we grew up with no money and most of the time didn't even have a car. And then I met my husband. I became an attorney working in nonprofits. And then in the last 15 years, since having gotten married, my husband's a foreign service officer. And now I've traveled to over 50 different countries. I've lived around the world from Nicaragua to Vietnam, Serbia, Croatia. I'm moving to Albania in a couple of
Wow.
months. And just sort of the incredible things that I've been able to see and do, and things that I never could have imagined. And I think realizing that you literally can write the book or the story of your life, and each day is a chance to rewrite your story and make it better and give yourself that happy ending that perhaps you never thought you could have. And, along with that, having all those twists and turns that you never expected. I mean, if somebody had told me, frankly, 18 years ago, I would say 18 or 20 years ago, you're going to live in Nicaragua and Vietnam and Serbia and Croatia, I would have been like, no, I don't even think I'm going to visit those countries. So yeah, I'm definitely not living there. I would have thought they were crazy. And so I think a book is in the works about something that has to do with, sort of rewriting that story for yourself and, creating all the plot twists and turns that you would want and giving yourself whatever ending you want. If you want a happy ending, you want a real dramatic one, you can write that. And I feel like definitely the best is yet to come for me. And I also feel like for other people, even people who maybe are my age and older thinking, oh, well, things have already sort of ended for me. Like, I don't think there's much left to look forward to. I'm sort of like, what? No, I've got amazing things I'm planning on doing, and you do too. You've just got to go out there and do that. And I truly believe that with hard work and dedication, you can do most things that you really set your mind to, or at least try. And I've certainly had a great time doing many things and trying a lot of things. Of course, I didn't succeed at everything. I've failed a lot more than I have won, but all of those things have helped bring me to places that I never expected and created some really incredible opportunities in life, even the bad things.
Exactly. I always say, even when things don't go the way you want them to, or didn't go the way you expected them to, you got something out of it. It was a lesson, maybe. It was teaching you that there are other ways of doing things. Whatever it is, something good comes from every situation. It's just hard to see sometimes in the moment. Well, if you do decide to write that book, I know I'll be one of the first to read it because this interview has been so inspiring. I would love to read even more of your story. For today, I'm sure some of our listeners are like, hey, Tabitha, I want to know too. I'm inspired. How can they connect with you if they choose to?
Sure. They can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Mikell Reed Carroll, which is Mikeel. Mikell Reed Carroll. And then my business handle, which is Carroll Crown Consulting, all one word, Carroll. So they can
Perfect.
find me that way and DM me if they want to set up a consultation or just have some questions.
Perfect. We will definitely include that information in the show notes so our listeners can find you. I know that many are feeling as inspired as I am just from our chat today. So, what parting words of wisdom or advice do you have for us before we end today?
Sure. I would say probably the words of wisdom or advice would be to never give up, never let anything stand in your way. If you have a dream, I truly don't feel you're too old to go after that. You should always chase after those dreams. And if a door closes, go ahead and pull it open or, pull it down. Like sometimes you've got to do that. And that's what I do. Like you said, I'm very tenacious. There's not a whole lot that will stop me. And for probably every, 50 no's, I know that I'm going to then at some point get a yes. And so just go for those things, chase the opportunities. Don't just lean in, push. And that I think would probably be my advice. And those things have, again, gotten me into some incredible places in my life. And I don't even know what other incredible places those doors that I've either opened or had to push down or kick down will eventually lead me to.
Oh my gosh. You just gave us the title of your new book. Don't just lean in, push. I'm
Exactly.
now
Yeah.
obsessed. Oh my gosh, Mikell, this was so fun and again, so inspiring. I appreciate you for taking the time to join us here on the GenX Remix and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you so much, Tabitha. It's been amazing. And thank you to all your listeners and viewers.
Was that amazing or what? Mikell is out here just proving that not only is age only a number, your age is your power. If you want to connect with her or book a consultation, head over to Instagram and follow her at Mikell Reed Carroll or at Carroll Crown Consulting. We'll drop these links into the show notes. And if you're thinking, I am ready for my own bold remix, I've got just the place to start. Grab my free Corporate Escape Starter Kit. It's packed with tools and clarity exercises to help you stop spinning your wheels and start building your bold next act, one step at a time. Head over to www.corporateescapesherpa.com/corporate escape starter kit, all one word, to download it now. It will also be in the show notes. Until next time, keep rewriting the rules, remixing your script, and living your boldest, most unapologetic life. See you next time.